Hi guys, new version of Poser dropped today. 13.1.1.58 I think it's called. Let's have a look. 13.1.518. It's the last version before 13.2, but I don't really get that because whether it's a whole point number increment or a point blah 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 blah. I don't know if it's bug fixes or the point numbers, but they've added a new feature anyway. So it seems a strange distinction to make, but either way, I'm happy that that Renderosity Bondware is continuing to work on the program. So I want to show you a situation here. So we have a figure that we've created in inverted commas. So this is actually just Victoria 4. She's wearing whatever this is, street clothes of some sort, and she's in a pose. I've changed the background color. You'll understand why in a minute. So this could be a figure, rather than being Victoria 4, it could be a figure that you've created a fresh new figure. It could be morphs, it could be an advert for clothes, or it could be something, maybe you've got a figure that you like the standard clothes that you like dressed in particular clothes. Doesn't really matter. What we're going to do is add that figure to the library. So I'm going to go to the library. I've got a temporary folder here that I use only for demonstrating stuff to you. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add that figure to the library by going to the bottom of the library's palette here. Normally I have this palette off screen, so it doesn't take up screen real estate. But for today, I've docked it in here. So I go to the bottom of the library's palette, content library palette, and I click plus. Now, Victoria is already selected. It doesn't matter what body part, and I'm just going to call this example. But you'd obviously name it something meaningful. When I click OK, it gives me a choice to save a new geometry or the original figure geometry. I really don't care about that, so I'm just going to click OK. And this is a really important thing. This is where it's really useful. Supposing you've got a figure that has the clothes already on, this option gives you the option to save the grouping, which is the entire figure with the clothes, the hair and everything, or the individual, which is just the particular figure that was selected up here minus any clothes. So I'm going to click whole group, and there she is saved down there. Now, just to demonstrate that I've actually done that, I'm going to get rid of all this stuff. And shoes. And now I'm going to double click example to load it back into the scene. And there's the figure. Okay, so let's say now, supposing this is going to be a permanent addition to my library, or perhaps I'm creating a content library of content that I'm going to package and sell on one of the stores. Let me just go to the face. So I want to create a nice thumbnail here. So I've set up my thumbnail. So the default size for thumbnails on Poser is 91 by 91 pixels, but you can actually go as large as 256, 256. It depends on the size of these thumbnails here, which can be adjusted by these here. See, thumbnail size. So I'm going to leave it at the default of 91 by 91, which is set here. So I just click this to open here, do render dimensions, and then change that to 91 by 91. Now you may need to turn off constrain aspect ratio when you set those values. And now I got this set to render on a high preset here. So I've got optics high, which is good quality optics render. Now I'm just going to click render, and it's just going to render that figure for us. And we've got a nice image here. So now what I want to do is I want to use that to replace the default. Whenever you add something to the library, it adds a thumbnail to the library. Another nice thing, I think now it adds thumbnails when you save files using save as well, which I really love. But anyway, so it creates a default thumbnail using the preview render, which is low quality. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to save that to here. So I can't remember where my temp folder is, so I'm just going to right click on here, click show in Explorer, and it opens up underneath, and now I can just simply copy that path across. And this image I can now do export image, and I can paste that path back in, and I'm just going to click on that name example, and it's now going to overwrite that. Now it doesn't automatically update that by default, so all you just do is you click here and click there to refresh. So now you can see that that's reflected there as well. Okay, so it's slightly nicer. Obviously, if the thumbnails were larger, with DAS, they have this great feature where you have a thumbnail and a rollover thumbnail, which is much bigger, which I think is 256, called dot tip. But Poser doesn't have that, but it does have the option to increase the thumbnail size. I can't remember which is which, but let's just say it's this one. There you go. And you can see, by the way, Renderosity, it would be nice if you actually showed a value here as you scroll over that. So there's a bigger one. So if I was going to use that at a bigger size, I would increase the thumbnail size here so that it looked nice there. Okay, the rendering thumbnail size. So, okay, I love that. I love that. Let's say I make some tiny change here. So I've clicked her arm and I'm just going to bend it in some way. Okay, it's over her face for whatever reason. And now I save that new pose to this folder in the same way as we did before, but I'm just going to use exactly the same name. Now, that's not always best practice, because if you've made a mistake here or you lose the power, you lose your power, you lose your original and the new pose. But oftentimes it's just more convenient to save over the top of what you've got. So I've got this new figure here now with the hand across the face, and I'm just going to click save again, and I'm going to call it exactly the same name, example. Now this is something where I wish that Bondware would sort this out, where you can, rather than typing a name, it opens up a regular file dialog, so I could just click on that name there. And I'm going to do exactly the same as I did before. New figure, exist, replace. At least it has that nicety. Whole group, and it's overwritten that thumbnail. That is a huge pain, and it auto refresh that time. Interesting. Now, what you'd normally do is you'd have another window open, like an Explorer window, and you'd copy that thumbnail before you did it so that you didn't lose the work that you did posing and rendering that thumbnail. Obviously, it's easy enough if it's simply a render of this position, but if you supposing you had some thumbnail that had text written on it, and it wasn't a direct render of this scene, but something more meaningful like a close-up or something like that, it's a real pain when every time you make a small adjustment, you lose the thumbnail. Oftentimes, when you're submitting to a store, they'll pick up something that you've missed, maybe here. See the hand is going into the face. That would never pass quality assurance at Bondware. So they'd send it back and say, fix that, and then you fix it, do your new thumbnail, and now you've destroyed your old thumbnail. Or you have to go through the trouble of copying them. So instead, what you could do, so I'll render that again, so we've got a nicer thumbnail. Oh, actually, I won't. I'll just save that one that we already did. So I'll just do export over the top, and I'll do export image, call example. See, here it offers me a dialog. I don't know why they can't be consistent here. Okay, I don't know what I've just done there. Right. And this time it doesn't refresh, so it only refreshes when I actually save to the folder. So here, refresh that. So now we've got our nice thumbnail. And while I'm at it, why don't I just increase that thumbnail size just to show you a slightly nicer one. So I'll do 256, and because they're constrained, it does both values the same. So slightly nicer thumbnail, hand in the face there, and then I'll save that thumbnail to here. Let's export. Don't know why that has to be export, why it can't be saved, but anyway. Right, that's lovely there. So that's a nicer thumbnail there. Now, we make another change. So in this case, I'm just going to do Control Z and go back to our original pose. Now I'm going to save that back over the top of here. And we're going to call that example again, is it? Example. Oh, capital E, just in case it's case sensitive. New geometry, that bit doesn't matter. Name, yes. Whole group doesn't matter. Oh, my goodness, what have I done stupidly there? Okay, I have overwritten it because I missed one of the dialogues. I'm sorry. Okay, let's go back to there. Export that image again. Oops, a daisy. That image. Export. was in a rush, I went straight through it. So we're back to that nice thumbnail again, hopefully. Yep, okay. So I'm going to save that figure again. Get it right this time, Matt. I'm going to call it example. And what I actually need is in this dialog, keep thumbnail. And that's a fantastic feature because it now doesn't save a new thumbnail over the top of the previous one. And I can prove that by refreshing that and the thumbnail stays the same. Small but impactful change. Thank you very much, Bondware. Love it.